What's good, guys? So we're going through the OCG metagame breakdown. This is going to be the end of May, and I'm going to keep going through this until I get through everybody's skull that Tri Brigade is actually going to be so crazy. I think now that I had some time to play with it and I see all my friends before Bear Bloom is even out, I think it's already better than most of the decks. I think it's already better than all the decks. I think it's very close to being as good as Dragon Link, if not better for a mid-range deck. But let's get on with it. And there's some interesting things in this article that I want to go over too. But so recently they did drop the Cyber Dragon structure deck. I haven't really looked at the cards, but I've also heard through the grapevine that these cards are really good. I'll definitely take my chance to look through them later. But whenever a new structure deck drops, the first few weeks, like people are gonna need time to like go through and see how you fit everything into other decks because I'm pretty sure these cards are gonna be used as engines into other dragon decks and things of that sort. But let's get on with the pie chart itself. Oh, what do you know? 23% Tri Brigade, and then right after is Virtual World. And I've talked about Virtual World. We cannot take the 1-to-1 ratio that I like to take usually from OCG to TCG just because Virtual World still has the abomination that is VFD. I don't know why, but there are interesting things in their deck. Tri Brigade is definitely dominating. After that is Drytron, hopefully Drytron. Drytron is about to become close to full power, as close as it can get to full power. With Ben 10 at 1 in TCG, I still think it'll see play here. And in OCG, it's at 3, so it's a little different. Interesting Endymions here. I hope, like I said, I hope they bring some Pendulum cards back. I hope they bring Servant back because I think Endymion was a really cool deck. It was not overpowered. It was a good Pendulum deck, and I don't remember the last time I saw a Pendulum deck in TCG unless it was like Electromite format. And then Zodiac's a nice deck. I've been playing around with it. It's definitely weaker than Tri Brigade. It's definitely going to be a rogue contender. But the fact that you could fit so many hand traps or just non-engine cards into the deck, and then you will have 15 Zeus, so one Zoo and everything else is just non-engine cards to try to deal with the field. Cool. Code Talker new deck, not in the TCG just yet, so I won't really talk too much about that. Dragon Maid, it's been here and there. I don't know why OCG loves Dragon Maid so much. Tiding's good, I guess. And then the fusions are good. I've seen the deck. Orcus, different because of Hardcore. Prank Kids really fell off. I don't know why, because I think for Prank Kids is still good in TCG, and it's pretty good in OCG too. I think the matchup into Tri Brigade is very awful because Tri Brigade can easily deal with the normal summon through so many cards like Revolt summoning Shirag or just Double Dragon Lord just bouncing. So that might be the issue. And then 25% other. As usual, OCG is going to have a bunch of other different decks. They're always like this, but the important thing to note is Tri Brigade. It's really just dominating the format. It's very scary. I'm telling you guys, get prepared for this. Figure out what you're gonna side for this deck, especially as events slowly start coming back, as we get more events. Let's get on with it. You guys can see the other decks. I'm not gonna go too much into it. There's just weird decks. Thunder Dragon's still there. The Shadal decks, they're weaker there because the Servant and shit like that is hit. Not really anything special other than the big takeaway is the Tri Brigade factor, and then Virtual World and Drytron. Virtual World is not that important, but let's get on with the list. There's a few things I want to talk about. So let me summarize let's look at the list and let me summarize what the article really was just saying. So most people are comparing this deck to Salamangreat, a mid-range deck, very akin to Fractal being like Gazelle, things like that. Revolt is almost like Salamangreat Sunlight Wolf because it just like plus twos, just like Wolf used to, and you could fit so many other non-engine cards such as, look at it, Maxi, Ash, Veiler, Impermanence, Cross-Act Designator, things like that. But the big takeaway, I even talked about this in my video that I did with the how to side and properly try to deal with Tri Brigade. Look, no terraforming, no nothing. They're just playing Mystic Mine. If you go second and drop a Mystic Mine, I kid you not, the game is over against Tri Brigade. I'm going to be a big advocate of Mystic Mine too when you're playing against Tri Brigade, especially if you're on a combo deck. When you activate Mystic Mine, they will rarely ever have spell and trap removal because you're playing a combo deck. They're going to have a bunch of hand traps. Everything gets shut down. You just deck them out when you're going second. Literally don't need to play any other cards. I think Mystic Mine is definitely super annoying to deal with, but I think it's a very good card, especially in our format where we have it at 3. I believe they have it at 1 there. But Mystic Mine is very interesting to me. Even the fact that even Tri Brigade is playing it, a mid-range deck playing Mystic Mine is very cool to me. Just main decking it because it just steals wins because the setup can be so scary when Tri Brigade goes off with these Zoo cards. And most of the decks are playing Zoos. I know OCG just recently got new Literalist cards and they're slowly testing those cards out. I haven't read the new Literalist cards yet. Until we get closer to that, I won't be, but I hear that they are good. I hear that Tri Brigade can definitely play those new cards in it too. But big takeaway, Mystic Mind, guys. Be prepared for that. I think it's a really good card, really good on the side. If your deck can afford to main deck it, that'd be cool. If you play field spells, terraforming, set rotation, all that good stuff, yeah, get some free wins with Mystic Mind, I'm telling you. And then same thing with Virtual World. I'm not gonna go too much into it because there's no point. They still have VFD. I'm really expecting VFD to go in their next format because I think VFD is just cancerous. But look, out of nowhere, they're also the Virtual World's playing Mystic Mind. Have you ever seen Virtual World play field spells? That's very cool to me. So it just reiterates the fact that I think Mystic Mind might be one of the best cards to deal with it. And don't just try to just activate Mystic Mind and like have it get negated or something. Literally just, and most of the time it won't even get negated, but literally activate Mystic Mind and pass. The game's gonna be over. Most decks are not respecting spell and trap decks anymore because the spell and trap decks are just literally too slow. Things like Prankits play spell and traps and Eldritch play spells and traps, and those decks are really just not that good. Most decks can deal with those spells and traps through their engine. So I think Mystic Mind is really gonna be on the come up going into next format as we approach a ban list and Lightning Overdrive. Mystic Mind is a card to look out for. And the last thing, in conclusion, they bring up some other cards that I'll quickly go over. I think with the whole entire idea of field spells, they talk about Necro Valley, and that didn't even come into my mind. Necro Valley, that Necro Valley is actually really freaking good versus Tri Brigade. I'm gonna test that out too. I'm gonna first need to find a deck that can actually play Necro Valley because it's hard to fit Necro Valley into decks. But Necro Valley stops all the main deck monsters and Revolt. I should have put this in that list that I made of cards to beat Tri Brigade with. But Necro Valley is very interesting because you have Metaverse, set rotation, terraforming, a lot of ways to get to Necro Valley. And if you're playing a deck that doesn't get touched by Necro Valley, I think that's really good. And Necro Valley usually just hits almost every deck. So a rogue deck that could play Necro Valley, I will definitely be looking into that. But more OCG metagame breakdown. This is the end of the month. All the things that happened and the big takeaway: Mystic Mind and Tri Brigade. Very good deck, good card to beat Tri Brigade. Stay tuned for more. Let me know what you guys think. And are there other cards that I'm not thinking about? Because the Necro Valley thing was very interesting to me. So like, comment, subscribe.